back. It is episode number 5. E5 error on the third baseman. The shutdown inning maybe has run into some trouble. No, just kidding. No error on the third baseman. We are back for another episode. Steven Rissotto, Tylor Hall. What's going on? How you doing?
Hey, everybody. How's it going? Doing good, Steven. How are you, man?
Doing well, doing well. We got the holiday season approaching. I think like Thanksgiving time is always like the crazy rumor time. Like we're going to talk about the winter meetings in a bit, but some stuff has happened, but like there's going to be more in the coming weeks. So
Yeah.
it's a fun time.
Yeah, everyone's still kind of in the wait and see,
Mhm.
section of the hot stove season. There's been a little bit of action and a little bit of chatter going on, but yeah, right when we get to the holidays now, I think that's when some free agents too start to think like, they're with their families a lot. They're okay, we need to start thinking what's best for my family. Where am I going to go? And so I think, now is I think when a lot of thoughts start to percolate with the players too, as far as, where are they going to be for the next handful of seasons.
Yeah, checking in on the real estate agents, trying to keeping them on edge just in case fielding all these different offers. I know that there's always those fun rumors this time of year of what teams are linked to which player. And I think the decline of Twitter is like
Yeah.
amplifying it.
Yeah.
And all these because if we don't have Twitter, we don't know any of these rumors. So um
Yeah.
the way it gets out, the quickness at what it gets out is crazy. And it kind of started with the qualifying offer. We had two guys accept it. Jock Pederson accepted it. We'll start with Jock. Martin Perez also accepted it in Texas, but I guess we're both Giants people. Jock was the big one, the big
Yeah.
news. I mean, were you surprised that he accepted it? I mean, 19.65 million, it's a lot of money for him, and he got 6 million last offseason.
Yeah. I was kind of surprised that the Giants offered it to him because that's a lot for essentially a platoon outfielder because that's how they utilize him. And I think that's probably best for Jock and his value as well. You're not going to put him out there against the lefties and see him struggle all the time. So I was surprised for the capacity they want to use him that they want to do that, but they have a lot of money freeing up and having a bat like Jock as a platoon guy, and I think he's pretty well liked around baseball. If you're not
Mhm.
Tommy Pham, um, so I think maybe he's someone that you can use to kind of help lure people in. Obviously, you're going to need a lot more than Jock Pederson to get some big bats in, but he's not a bad guy to have on the roster. So I can see, I can make the argument why they did it. I don't think I necessarily would have. And then I think from his end, it's been talked about by Giants fans everywhere. I'm not surprised he took it either because, like you mentioned, he made 6 million this year. So you're over tripling that now. And instead of maybe going out and trying to find a 2-year, 3-year deal, making maybe 10 million a year, now he gets 20 and one. If he has a good year, he can go wherever he wants next year and secure the bag.
Yeah, no, I think for him it was a no-brainer to accept. I think if they didn't offer him the qualifying offer, he would have taken a multi-year deal somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
and we talked about this a little bit before we started, but I mean, you threw out 2 years, 25, which I could totally see happening.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, I think everybody's kind of asking the question right now, what is the worth for a guy like that who only plays against right-handed pitching? But he put up big numbers. He's a guy who fans, I think, gravitate towards. He's good for your overall brand. And, we talked a lot last year about what players you would want to go see in San Francisco, you would pay to see. And like Jock was the one that everybody kind of singled out as like, yeah, he might not be in there every day, but Jock is a guy who's entertaining. And I think
Yeah.
that's a big part of it too. And he puts up numbers. He just goes to work against right-handed pitching and he's a streaky guy at times, but I think for the most part, he's going to be a really good fit. And Farhan said that he was plan A for the Giants. So, um, I mean, I wonder what this does for like Brandon Nimmo, his chances of coming because, the Giants just have so many left-handed bats with Luis Gonzalez and Lamont Wade Jr. and, um, Yastrzemski. There's a lot of left-handed bats in there. So, it'd be interested to see how they all sort it out.
Yeah, I think with Nimmo, it'd be like, he'd have to deal with that log jam for a year or so. Not all those guys are going to be back, in 2024, I guess we're talking now. But also, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants try to package one or two of those left-handed bats and try to get an arm or something if
Yeah.
they end up with that log jam of lefties. You also have Wade. You can plug in at first if necessary. So there's some flexibility there. Luckily, there's the DH now too in the National League. So at least it's a little alleviated with some of the flexibility, both with the roster itself and the lineup now. But we'll see. I mean, in Farhan we trust.
Exactly. And Bruce Bochy getting an arm that's coming back to Texas. Martin Perez agrees to the qualifying offer. I mean I think he had a good year last year, kind of a breakout year in a way. And yeah, Texas is just like they need pitching like big time. And I think DeGrom would be a nice landing spot there too. But I mean, are you surprised that? Yeah, are you
I'm
surprised
not
at
too
that?
surprised he took it. I mean, he wouldn't have been a sexy name on the market. He
No.
kind of flies under the radar because he doesn't strike out a lot of guys. His ratios are all pretty good. He had a low ERA this year. He kept guys off base. So with guys without overwhelming power, it's kind of, okay, what if he starts getting hit around a little bit? But, $20 million payday for him. I'm not too surprised he took it. I'm not sure what he probably could have demanded on the open market. He probably would have been maybe a top 6 to 10 pitcher on the market, because he's not going to break, there's, the top 3 everyone kind of knows about. And then probably a few other guys I put ahead of him. So maybe he's, taking the opportunity to bet on himself, get the, because also the thing with the qualifying offer, especially if you're a quote unquote, like a fringe guy, like a Jock or a Perez, your offer from other teams is going to be impacted now because it's going to cost them a draft pick to pick you up. So, Perez maybe taking the opportunity to double down on himself, maybe go have another solid year. Because, like I think the strikeouts, I think, are what kind of keeps his name quiet. But he had a very good year this year. So if he can replicate that again and hit the open market without a draft pick tied to his name next year, then he can maybe go secure an even larger payday. So I'm not too surprised. I'm not surprised the Rangers slapped it on him because, like you said, they need arms, and Boch will probably enjoy plugging him into the starting lineup once every 5 days.
Yeah, I'm so amazed at the qualifying offer. Like I thought it would go away in the last CBA. For the most part, I don't like it that much. I don't like the whole compensation part of it, but it feels like it keeps on going up every year. Remember, it was 15 for the longest time, and now then it went up to like 16.5, 18, and now it's 19.65. So
yeah, I forget how do they calculate it. It's like the average of like the top X amount players or something. So that's why it keeps going up, because salaries are going up. But yeah, it's definitely, it can help players, it can inhibit players, and it does the same to front offices. Other sports have similar where, like in the NBA, if you're the team holding a guy going into free agency, in most instances that they can offer the most money to a free agent. So, it kind of, I think if you hold on and you develop a guy, if he hits free agency and decides to go somewhere else, I'm not too against, a team that did that work getting some kind of compensation if they decide to move on to greener pastures.
Yeah, I wonder how many guys like the next year got like a lower AAV. Like they turn it down and then they get a lower AAV. That would just be like such a gut punch. But
it'd be interesting to kind of go back and see what maybe like major MLB trade rumors would like have valued their contract at, and then go and see, okay, well, they got 19 point whatever for the qualifying offer, and then the next year they signed this much. So did it work out for them or not? It'd be interesting to see.
Yeah,
obviously you're talking a lot of hypotheticals and stuff, but just to kind of see how it pans out. I mean, it's worked out for a few other guys, like Gossman. It worked out for him. He's a guy who has taken the qualifying offer in the past, and now he's got a $100 million contract north of the border. So, I mean, it's all about, staying healthy, replicating that season you just had, and then it can almost be a launching board for you.
Yeah. And speaking of guys that kind of are getting launched and have accepted some free agent contracts, Tyler Anderson is going down the I-5 to Anaheim from the Dodgers. He was a Dodger, had a great year. And
according to Bob Nightingale, he re-signed with the Angels.
That was so bad, man. That was so, yeah. Bob Nightingale saying that Tyler Anderson has been an Angel before, which he hasn't. But he's going there. I believe I don't have the figures in front of me.
He was 339, 3 years, 39 million.
I think you're right.
And he was a guy who declined the qualifying offer, and then basically right when the deadline hit, he like I think it was like 10 or 15 minutes after the deadline passed, he had signed his deal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he declined that and signed his deal right away. And um, this is, the Angels need guys like this. They have always tried to get kind of the lesser known starting pitcher, Julio Teheran, Matt Harvey, Dylan Bundy, and now Tyler Anderson. Anderson had a great year. He was really good in the postseason. Remember against San Diego, and probably shouldn't have gotten pulled in one of those games, but it just, I mean, he
They're
seems like a
almost I feel like they're
yeah,
trying to do like the almost like the Giants, just down some, a bunch of reclamation projects and hope one of them hit, where the Giants have had some success
a
turning
little bit.
starting pitchers
Mhm.
around. The Angels just keep missing. So it's almost,
Yeah. And like
eh,
I have Angels people that I know that are saying like, oh, a guy who, is throwing 90 with like fringe off speed stuff that had a good year, how's he going to age? Right? So I would like the Angels to get just some certainty in the rotation instead of guys that like come off a great year with no projected sustainability, I feel like
yeah,
Anderson is just a wild card.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, it's their, most likely their final year with Otani. So we'll see what
Yeah.
kind of moves they try to make to either convince him to stay or at least utilize that talent one last time.
Yeah, and they're trying to sell the team. God, that team is just so wildly crazy. The
Yeah.
Angels.
Yep. Yeah.
Gosh. And I
Best
know
best
we
wishes to the Angels fans out
yeah.
there.
And I know we mentioned that they're like a team that could just switch the
Well, I
flip.
mean, yeah, we talked about, I think it was last episode or the episode before. I mean, they when you have guys like Trout and Otani, Rendon, if he's healthy, like they have the nucleus there that if the rest of the roster could put their shit together, they could be a playoff team. They could. I don't see them, I mean, they could with Trout and Otani and whatnot, but I don't see them catching the Astros, but get a wild card spot, get in there. Like the baseball world deserves to see Mike Trout and Shohei Otani in the playoffs, and I wish they would stop screwing that up for everybody.
Yeah, it's always like Otani pitches 7 shutout innings. Go him and Trout both go yard and
Angels lose
Angels
6-4.
Angels lose 6-4. It's always the same thing. It's amazing. And uh yeah, they got to clean it up. And I hope the new owner is committed to being smart and winning because
Yeah.
that's what they need. And Bob Nightingale would be right if he mentioned that Anthony Rizzo re-signed with the Yankees because he did. So the Yankees have their first baseman, Tyler.
Yeah, I mean, that was another one that happened pretty quick. It was that same afternoon, so I think it was kind of probably in the works. I wish he would have hit the open market, not necessarily to come to the Giants or anything. I just think he would have been a little sliver in there that, he's been around for a while, I think, but he's pretty well around. I think Yankee State left-handed bat like him at Yankee Stadium. I mean, hard to knock him for staying there. I also think, we'll get into, I don't think we'll go, and we definitely won't because we're talking awards in a bit. We're not going to get through an episode without talking about Aaron Judge for a minute. But, I think him and Judge have, well documented, become pretty close over the last couple of years where he's been in New York. And so I think that's also another reason why maybe the Yankees look to lock him down as quickly as possible. It's not just a bat in the lineup like, hey, you'll have Rizzo in the lineup with you. It's, hey, we've got your buddy still. But I'm not too surprised. He seemed to be enjoying himself in New York, and like I said, he's built for that ballpark. Were you surprised at all?
No, this is a match made in heaven. And I find it funny because earlier that day, it was reported that like he's going to be Houston's number one target. And like that
Mm-hmm.
never really came about, but no, you hit the nail on the head. It's a perfect spot for him. Like it seems like he's got the big market personality. And I think even more than that, you know what you're going to get. You know what you're going to get
Yeah.
out of Anthony Rizzo. You're going to get, 30, 35 homers, especially there. And
Mm-hmm.
you're going to get a steady first baseman who is going to be fun.
He's sneaky on the base paths too. A lot of people don't realize he steals like 10, 15 bags a year.
I didn't know that. So there you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
But no, this match made in heaven, and it can only help Judge to return back to New York. It could only help that cause.
Yeah.
Um,
And if
it-
Judge leaves, they have a bat in the lineup they know is going to put up 30, 35 bombs. So,
yeah,
you know,
yeah, and he got what, like 2 years, 40 million, I
2 years,
think.
40. And I think there was an option for a third. So it could end up being like 359 or something. I think he's guaranteed like 45 million because I think there's a
Mm,
$5 million buyout on the third year.
mm.
So essentially at minimum, it's a 2-year, like 45-ish mil for Rizzo.
Yeah, so it sets the market a little bit for Josh Bell and Jose Abreu.
Mm-hmm.
And they're gonna, obviously I think everybody would mostly want Josh Bell over Rizzo, so he's probably gonna get a little bit more. Abreu's kind of on the older side. We'll see what he gets. I know San Diego's trying to make him their number one target at first base. Sounds like San Diego doesn't really want to bring Josh Bell back. So Bell, I mean, I think
Bell
you predicted
scares
it too,
me.
right?
Bell scares. Yeah, I projected him to the
Me
Astros
too.
over
Yep.
on Giants Chatter. If you follow us over there, we did a free agents predictions. I projected Bell to the Astros. I think he's a little inconsistent. I'd be nervous if my team signed him to be there. At least like a major cog in the lineup. He's had really great years. He's had not very great years. Like you said, Abreu's on the older side, but he's a little more consistent. So actually, just to keep plugging, we'll get the Giants chatter plugs out. I actually did a write up, Giants Most Wanted. I wrote about Abreu. I projected him at about 2 years, 44 million. I could see him maybe getting a 30-year option, whether that's San Francisco or somewhere else, because his age is getting up there. He's probably not going to get another big contract, so I wouldn't be surprised if he gets like an option, almost like Rizzo, where all right, if you perform these first 2 years, you pick this up. You don't hit free agency as a 38-year-old hoping to scrap some money together. So
Yeah. There's something cool about 2-year deals. Like I feel like that's the most comfortable deal is like when you have a good 2-year deal and by the end of it you're feeling comfortable. Like I feel like
mm-hmm.
that's a really rewarding feeling as an executive. And Abreu is like the perfect person to give it to, and so is Rizzo. So
Yeah.
yeah, first base, there's not a lot of names out there to get. There's some suitors I feel for both those guys who are still there, but um
It's the drop off from the top guys around the board. I mean, there's those 4 or 5 big shortstops out there,
mhm.
but like corner infield, there's not a lot out there. So
Nope.
I mean, these guys have a good market for them right now. If you're one of those top guys, outfield, there's maybe there's Judge, Nimmo. Then you get it, you start. That's where I think the drop off starts from outfield, because then you get into the Benintendi's of the world, which he's not a scrub or anything, but he's not going to be Aaron Judge. Well, no one is, to be honest. But
Yeah.
you know what I mean. Those impact bats are going to be hard to find. So
And
the
pitching, you have Verlander, Rodon, DeGrom, and then,
and
a little bit of a drop off, kind of.
then like Walker.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, these top guys are gonna be fed pretty well, and then some. I think a lot of fan bases are gonna be a little underwhelmed with what their team can scrap together. So the cream of the crop is mighty fine, but then it drops off. So it's going to be an interesting off season.
Yeah.
And
And you could always, yeah.
once the dominoes start to fall, teams are going to start panicking with those guys that are left. Like if like DeGrom and Rodon go off the board, then okay, maybe Verlander can get swayed away from Houston or something like that. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting. I think it's going to be a roller coaster. A lot of people complain about how long the MLB offseason takes, and for me, yeah, I wish I didn't have to wait 2 months to see where guys sign, but the anticipation of it and then kind of the flurries of action that happen, it can be fun. Just it's like the game of baseball. People complain about game time. Same with the off season. But
Yeah.
enjoy it for what it is, because we're not. We can complain about it all we want, but it's not going to change, at least for a while.
Yeah, exactly. And one trend that I've noticed this offseason is like teams are trading pretty good players in hopes of like making room for a free agent. Like Teoscar Hernandez, pretty good player, like I think made an all-star game in Toronto, and he gets traded to Seattle. And then now Toronto's talking about adding Benintendi or adding an outfielder or sorry,
Or
Nimmo.
Nimmo. Yeah.
Nimmo. So it's like, wow, so these teams, like same thing with the Dodgers just now with Bellinger. They non-tender Bellinger, who's a big name, projected to get like $17 million. They don't want to pay him that. He's probably not worth that. And then like right away we see that they're interested in Kevin Kiermaier. So it's like, what is going on? Like so many like players are being like shipped off or non-tendered, and they're getting replaced by players that are either marginally better or like a little bit better. Like same thing kind of with the Dodgers and Judge, and we don't have to get into that conversation, but Bellinger was the one that I noticed with Kiermaier, but I thought it was interesting. I had a feeling they would non-tender him.
Mm-hmm.
Um 27 years old. I understand like the sentiment that there's still a lot left there to unlock, but my feeling is the Dodgers didn't do it, right?
Yeah, I mean they've been able to unlock a lot of different players, and Bellinger's regressing. He's not getting better, so
Mhm.
that's got to be a little bit of a red flag to a lot of teams out there. A lot of Giants fans have said, "Oh, go get him, go get him." He's better than he has, and you've seen a lot of comparisons over stats over the last 2 or 3 years where that is literally not the case. So I think he's a splashy name. People know the name. He was an MVP what 3-4 years ago.
Yep,
Um,
2018, I think.
yeah, 2018, 2019, that
2019, one
range.
of them.
And he had a really good 3 years. A lot of when he got non-tendered, there were a lot of tweets getting resurfaced where people were like, "Oh, does he get the Harper deal?" And it's
Move
like,
over,
well,
Mike Trout. That's another one I
yeah,
saw.
yeah. So if he can find it, whoever picks him up will be very happy. It also depends. Even if your team signs him, he might just be a 1-year deal. Maybe he's trying to rebuild his value, and then he's gone. So I wouldn't bank him being a bat that could turn a roster around and make a team into a playoff team. It could happen because we've seen what he can do. But he's not the Cody Bellinger that most people, unless you're in a Dodgers fan or a fan of like an NL West team that's seen him a lot over the last 3 years. I think, the West Coast wasn't too surprised about the non-tender. A lot of other people were. And I think, there's a reason for that.
Yeah, he's a reclamation project. That's what he is. And I'm tired of hearing like the former MVP. Like this is a guy who's played at an MVP level before. That was like 4 years ago. And like we have to just like stop with that narrative that a guy's been an MVP before and it all of a sudden changed. It's like you're looking at the name on the back of the jersey, and nobody cares about what he did 3, 4 years ago. It's all about what he's going to do in the next 2, 3 years. And Joe Mauer was an MVP, right? And then at the latter part of his career, was anybody talking about him like an MVP? Like, no. So things
Yeah.
happen, things change, and Bellinger's looked lost. His last 2 years, he's been, I believe, since 2020, from 2020 to 2022. So the last 3 years, counting the COVID year, he's been like one of the worst hitting outfielders among qualified candidates, right? So this
Yeah.
guy, like, he's got a few things working for him, and that he could run into one every once in a while, and he plays good defense. He's an athlete. He could probably win a Gold Glove in the outfield, and he's quick. He does all that good stuff, but he doesn't hit. And like the
Yeah.
shift is getting taken away this coming year, and we're talking about all these left-handed hitters are going to benefit from the shift. Yastrzemski in San Francisco is one of them because he's got a great average exit velocity. His hard hit percentage is, very good too. His barrel percentage is really good. He doesn't chase that often. He's in one of the top percentile in chase rate of laying off, really good pitches. And Bellinger, on the other hand, is the complete opposite. Like Bellinger's max exit velocity is in the lower percentile. So that means he's not hitting the ball hard. So those balls that are grounded to the right side are not going to sneak through. So I don't
Yeah.
understand how this is going to translate to the shift. And he strikes out way more than Yastrzemski does. I shouldn't say way more. It's about the same. And his chase rate is like half of what Yastrzemski's is. So I mean, he does not walk at all. He's been like 30 or 20% below league average the last few years. There's no fit for a team that's looking to add an everyday guy. He's someone that's going to go to the Marlins or something, or a team that
Go to the Rockies, crush,
yeah,
maybe 30,
Tampa.
35. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's just got to figure something out in his swing, and I mean, it's so evident the Dodgers didn't find it. You know how is, and they
Yeah, the
usually
Dodgers
find
are
it.
one of those few teams where, like, if they can't fix a guy or figure out what's wrong, I'm not sure who will. There's a few front offices like that, and or staffs, and the Dodgers are definitely one of them.
Yeah,
So
that was my mini rant. I had to
yeah,
because I kept seeing it yesterday. I was like, you know, the name on the back really does trick people.
yeah,
It like based on what they've done before and the reputation playing in LA. he's a relatively big name in that he's like kind of a borderline celebrity. Like, people know him, they know who he is, but for whatever reason, they don't know that his past, few years have been abysmal.
I think this is a part of it too. Is like I said, the coast bias thing.
Hmm.
East Coast is asleep by the time the Dodgers play. They wake up, the Dodgers won again. They still have Cody
Yeah.
Bellinger. Bellinger must be good.
Yeah, they think he's the same guy.
Yeah,
Gosh, that's
but
crazy. Yeah, but
But yeah, so I mean that's been pretty much the gist of the off season so far as the hot stove is concerned. Just we'll probably see a little more action in a couple weeks. The winter meetings down in San Diego, December 4th, I believe those kick off. That's usually when traditionally we see some action pick up. So, I'm sure some chips will fall between now and then, but we'll see what happens.
one day, hopefully, if this podcast, I have no reason to think that this podcast will ever end anytime soon, but
Never.
we got to do a live winter meetings, like live from the winter meetings one day. You got to like quit your job. I got to like continue to be
Absolutely.
unemployed. No. And then we just go to the winter meetings. We set up like a table and we go live from the winter meetings.
Let's do it. I'm in. Not
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah. Have
Don't have
like,
time this year, but
yeah. Boris joins the show, right?
right.
We get some guys on. That would be a lot of fun, but
Yeah.
that's neither here nor there.
But yeah, yeah, so we'll see what happens there. But then the other big piece of news or big pieces of news this week was finally awards time in Major League Baseball. I feel like a lot of those were already kind of determined to a lot of people, but first the rookies of the year came out. I wasn't too surprised. Julio Rodriguez from the Seattle Mariners took that home. I mean, I'm excited. I hope he stays healthy because
He's
I can
fun.
see him being a face of baseball in about 2 or 3 years. A lot of people kind of consider him on that tier almost anyway, just because of his age and his production already. But um, I was kind of hoping Quan, kind of the local Northern California
Mhm.
guy, he got some love, but Rodriguez was the clear cut choice to me. How about you, Steve?
Yeah, no argument there. Like you, I do also think he's fun. We saw during the home run derby, what kind of influence this guy could have on the game of baseball and its popularity. So, MLB just keeps hitting it out of the park with a lot of their Latin stars. I mean, they're
Yeah.
stars, they're athletes,
I
and
enjoyed like they mic'd him up. I think it was
Mhm.
during the game, and they're all mic'd up during
Yeah.
the derby. But then I think they talked to him playing the outfield during the game a little
Hmm.
bit, and he's got a good personality. He was having
Hmm.
fun out there. That's
Yeah.
the kind of guy you need baseball showcasing.
Yeah. And baseball, like the past few years, all the international stars, way bigger than their ability on the field is that they're ambassadors to the game. And I see no difference with him.
Yeah. Yeah, I was a little surprised on the National League though. Michael Harris, the second, got it for the Braves. Definitely not undeserving, but my vote, if I was voting, I would have gone with Strider, his teammate. I think he was dominant on the hill. I think he set the record for strikeouts by a rookie. I might be wrong there, but it was up there. That's who my vote would have gone for. But Harris was deserving. And he got locked up to a semi long term deal mid season, so Braves fans get to watch their rookie of the year for many years to come.
Strider did too. They're all getting locked
Yeah,
up there. It's
yeah. I
crazy.
mean, and the Braves have been doing so good at locking those young guys up. I mean, if you're putting your eggs in 3 or 4 guys baskets kind of early long term, if one of them doesn't pan out, cool. But because they got Acuna at a very early, I think he signed like a 7-year, slightly over $100 million contract, and if he had a healthy season and then hit the open market, he'd get at least double that. So I like what the Braves are doing. They got a bunch of young guys down there that they're locking up, and the Braves aren't going to be going anywhere for a while.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with Harris or Strider in the rookie of the year, voting. And I think Harris probably got the upper edge because he was a position player. And anytime you're a starting pitcher who pitches, I believe he made like 20 starts, uh, then it's really hard to beat a position player. And
Yeah,
both those guys contributed widely to the Braves this year, and they're going to continue to contribute to that team. And one thing that's kind of off topic here, but Dansby Swanson was, a guy who looked to be a long-term piece for the Braves, and he was not one of the guys that they gave their famous extension to. Albie's
yeah,
got one, but he didn't. So I guess that tells you that he's not in their long-term plans. But yeah, congrats to Michael Harris the second, not Michael Harris Jr., because I saw an interview with him. He said that the second, you don't hear it very often, but it sounds cooler. So I thought that was pretty awesome.
You should start going by Steven Risotto the first.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. That would
Just
be
start
awesome.
putting the one at the end of your name.
Yeah, is that a one? I always thought it was an I.
Well, I whatever, but put the I. It's a capitalized I when you type it out. Maybe it's an I. It's the first.
Well, Joe
hash
Shasky,
mark, whatever.
Yeah, Joe Shasky, possibly future friend of the program, 95.7 The Game host. He's Joe Shasky the third. So whenever I see him on Facebook, I always see the
three eyes.
The three eyes. So
there you go. Next on the awards was the Manager of the Year. It's probably the most boring award in the postseason awards. But Tito Francona took it home. I mean, how could you not vote? I think he was. I don't know if he was unanimous. But he was pretty close, I believe. I mean, I think a lot of people expected the White Sox to kind of stumble to a 90-95 win year and win that division. Not a lot of guys had Cleveland winning that division. Some maybe had him going. I think he set the record for most rookies played in a season. I think they played like 17 or 18 rookies in Cleveland this year. So job well done to Tito.
Yeah, this was a cool one. Anytime you manage a team full of so many young guys and you make it that far, you're gonna have a lot of people considering you as Manager of the Year. And I thought that was cool. Brandon Hyde, got to give a shout out to him because he turned that Orioles team, not him single-handedly, but he kind of had the same situation with a lot of young guys and a lot of low expectations. And, I thought he could have been maybe the other guy in consideration. I think Dusty got some second and third place votes too, but it's a unique situation when you get guys with young teams that make it pretty far. So, and it's only looking up for those guys too. And Tito's staying for one more year. But no, it's cool to see.
I mean, when you play that many rookies and you make the playoffs, a lot of those guys are going to be around in your organization for a while. So, not saying they're going to have all 17, 18 of those guys playing every day in the future, but obviously they have a good young crop of guys to be building a team around in Cleveland.
And he's a Hall of Famer.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think winning that World Series for the Red Sox probably made him a Hall of Famer, but he's won. He basically wins everywhere he goes. I think this is his third Manager of the Year in the last decade. So, not too surprising. So funny though, after I called it the most boring award, the winner that I had probably the most gripe with was Buck Showalter winning for the Mets. They choked their division lead out at the end of the year. Everyone kind of expected the Mets to dominate. They have the roster for it. I don't know if people just didn't know who to vote for, and so they just voted good old Buck or what. But I was surprised Melvin wasn't even a final three. And I think everyone was kind of worried about the Padres with Tatis's situation. It's Manager of the Year. I'm not going to lose sleep over it tonight. But what were your thoughts of Showalter winning in the NL?
Yeah, I just wouldn't know how to vote on this award at all. Like I know I've had conversations with my pal, my press box guy who sits to my right, Danny Emmerman from KNBR, and he voted for this award. And I believe he had Roberts as his number one. And for me, Dave Roberts was the only one that I didn't feel necessarily should have been even in that conversation. Like he had a great team. All you got to do is just sit back, relax, make some pitching changes.
I think this is the one year I would have voted for Roberts because it's tough when everyone expects you to be great and you still deliver on it. But then he won. I think it was 111 games. I think 2 or 3 other teams in baseball history have had a season like that. So this is like the one time where it's like you're expected to be great and you did that and you kind of had a historic season.
I'll buy that.
So I wasn't, most of the time it's like, cool, it's all the division winners that everyone expected to be and their managers are up there, but.
Yeah. And Melvin had the whole thing happen with San Diego and all the trouble that they went through. And Rob Thompson, shout out to him, with the way that the Phillies fired Girardi and him getting a chance to be a finalist. And but Showalter, I could kind of see taking over a team, being outside the game, being an older guy, the
Yeah.
whole narrative around New York, that was probably popular. So,
Yeah,
and
and they are the
fourth
Mets,
different
so
win
even
and
if they're
fourth different decade.
yeah, and even if they are, expected to win, they're the Mets, so you never know exactly what the Mets are going to do. So
Yeah,
he at least got him to the postseason as well. So like I said, I'm not going to lose sleep over it, but that's the one where I probably would have definitely gone elsewhere personally.
I agree.
Um, then we got Cy Young, 2 unanimous winners. I'm not sure if that's ever happened before. It'd be interesting to check that out. But Justin Verlander, I don't think they've announced comeback player of the year yet. I don't see how he's not
Nope.
comeback player of the year in the American League. Just completely dominant across the board. A lot of people I think were nervous with him coming back from injury, and I don't have the stats in front of me. I just know it was ridiculous.
Yeah, he was amazing. I think he had a sub 2 ERA, and
Mm-hmm.
Sandy, just to kind of pair the two, Sandy Alcantara from the Marlins won it in the NL, and he was just a workhorse. But the funny thing about how these two relate, this is a very historic Cy Young voting here. Both those guys, I think it's the first time in baseball history that two guys win the Cy Young without throwing a single inning the previous year.
Wow, that
So that's
is.
wild. Like,
Yeah. I
because
thought you were going to say maybe it's the biggest age gap with how old Verlander is, and Alcantara is kind of a
it
younger
could be
guy.
too. That's a good point. Or R.A. Dickey won it one year, but he wasn't as old as Verlander.
Yeah.
But
That's wild. Neither of them pitched an inning last year.
and they might both win comeback player of the year. So we'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah. And, I think we got to mention for Sandy, he had more complete games than any other team this year. So I'm a fan of the complete game just because they were a thing when I was growing up still. I
Yeah.
know with how valuable some of the values of these contracts and just how you have many aces coming out of the bullpen now. It's hard to see a complete game, but having more complete games than any team in baseball is something to definitely hang your hat on. And so
6 is wild. And I'm such an idiot because Alcantara threw 200 innings last
I
year.
thought he did. That's why I was surprised. I was like, okay, he didn't.
I
All
heard
right.
that stat somewhere. I swear to God, I heard that stat
Stop
somewhere.
listening to Bob Nightingale.
Oh gosh, fake news, Risotto. Damn.
Steven got fooled by a check mark.
Yeah, I went on because I was like, I didn't think he had Tommy John last year, but
He was the Joey Chestnut last year.
oh my God.
No, but
Like his
so
200 innings next to his name. Damn it.
it would be really cool if that was the case. But I mean, but even the fact that Verlander didn't pitch last year, he's going to be, I think, 40 next year. 39 age 39 season after not pitching the year before and having the season he did. I mean, I expect him to stay in Houston, but what a year. I mean, a lot of people talk about Judge's contract year, and it's one of the best in history. But talk about, being 39, it'd be easy to maybe have a decent year and ride off into the sunset with Kate Upton. And no, you double down on your career pretty much. And he made himself at least another 120 million probably with this season.
Yeah, and it's funny with Verlander because, you know, he was the best pitcher in the game for a long time. And, I think we underestimate how much it means to a guy who misses an entire year. That is such a
Yeah.
long time for an athlete to be away from the game and be away from, something he's getting. He's
Especially
been,
that age.
yeah, he hasn't had a summer off in, 30 years, probably more,
Yeah.
35 years. So for him to, not be playing and come back and regain form, that was pretty cool to see.
Yeah. And really quick before we move to MVP, I think it's the 11th or 12th pitcher to have 3 Cy Youngs. And if you look at that list, I mean, I think he was a Hall of Famer already, but he's obviously definitely now. But I mean, just go look at that company. I saw a graphic where they kind of had them all like in their pitching motion next to each other, and it's got to be pretty cool if no matter who you are to see yourself, listed with like Koufax and Clemens and Big
Maddox.
Unit, Maddox. So awesome year for him. He'll also get comeback player of the year, I'm sure. So, and then obviously MVP, the big boys coming through. Aaron Judge, no surprise in the American League. I mean, one of the best. However you wanted to describe the season, he had one of the best ever. Best season altogether. Best American League season. Best walk year. Best anything. I mean, yeah, I'm surprised it wasn't unanimous. I knew he didn't get 2 votes, and I learned from Steven right before we jumped on here that it was 2 LA writers who gave Ohtani first place votes. I mean, most other years, I could say, yeah, Ohtani, I mean, he's basically like Max Scherzer and Matt Olson mixed into one person if you look at his stats.
Mhm.
But the year that Judge had, how do you not vote for the guy?
Yeah, sometimes you got to go above and beyond the stat sheet and just
Yeah.
the significance of this season for Judge and the fact that he was a Yankee that broke like historically a Yankee record, right?
Yeah.
Ruth and Maris and now Judge and over 200 weighted runs created plus the 62 homers. It was just magical in every way. And the Yankees, I mean, it comes down to, and I don't normally do this. I think it's more or less of the best player award, but
Mm-hmm.
the Yankees are nowhere near where they were with Judge being a stabilizing force. So
Yeah.
I think he
And
definitely had it.
not to beat a dead horse from earlier, but maybe if the Angels were a playoff team and you have a
Mhm.
guy who's their ace and their best hitter, maybe he gets some more first place votes. Maybe you can make the argument for a couple people not voting for Judge. But the Angels were not a playoff team. Aaron Judge played in the toughest market in all of sports. He carried that team. I saw some stats. I wish I had written it down or bookmarked it, but basically the second half of the season, he was the Yankees offense and he
Yeah,
basically willed them to
September.
the playoffs.
Yeah,
Um,
even when he was struggling to he kind of went through a little bit of a slump when he was trying to get 62. And even then he was still the offense. Like he was
yeah,
still drawing walks and like most of that was going towards, most of that was shown in the Yankees
yeah.
offense.
I saw the other players like their comp, and it was pretty much like it was Judge playing with the Pirates, and he's
Yeah.
still and like no joke, like comparing the lineups and their production, and so if you want to say he played for a playoff team, well, you could argue they're not a playoff. They maybe slide out without Judge down the stretch. So, um, and then like I said, we're going to talk about Judge enough if we haven't already through the first 5 episodes and beyond. We can move on to Paul Goldschmidt. I think this was a pretty tight race compared to other MVP seasons. Goldschmidt wasn't a runaway. You had a bunch of guys that the final three were him, Arenado, and Machado. And so I wasn't surprised he won. He's had probably watching him play so long in Arizona. It's almost surprising he didn't even have one before because he's a quiet guy. He's consistent. He's always going to put up these kind of numbers. And so I thought he was deserving. A lot of Padres fans were upset that Machado didn't get more love, but I mean, there were until I think was it late August, Goldschmidt was a pretty decent threat for a potential triple crown.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I probably Goldschmidt for me. I would have voted for him, and Machado would have been a close too, because Machado, he had the reputation of being kind of a hothead, kind of someone that is a cancer to like a big league clubhouse. But this guy, since he's put on the Padres uniform, has been nothing but a leader in that clubhouse, and has been nothing but a worker. He plays every day.
yeah.
He's such a like a. If there's anybody that I could see, and nobody's going to come close to like a Cal Ripken streak. But if there's anybody that I could see putting together like a pretty solid
like a
consecutive
like a
games,
3-4 years of not missing a
yeah,
game.
yeah, yeah, 300 or 300 to 500 games in a row, I think he would be at the top of my list.
I think that's a good call. Yeah, so I mean that was the awards rundown. I mean, I think overall, all deserving winners. I mean, when you get to players of this caliber, you can't really say that a guy shouldn't have won. So, and really quick, we didn't choose a fun category, Steven, so I'm going to throw one at you,
Okay.
not baseball related, since this is our last episode before Thanksgiving. Steven Rissotto walks into Thanksgiving dinner with his family. What's he eyeballing first? What's definitely on Steven's plate?
Will definitely get myself a shot of Propel. No.
Make it a double.
Yeah, well, yeah, traditional Thanksgiving dinner for me, turkey. We'll have, of course, the mashed potatoes too with it, and probably we'll put in the Italian, pasta, or that's going to be the Italian part of it, usually pasta, maybe some pesto added in there, of course. And I that's pretty much it. We don't we probably have people over. Sometimes we don't, sometimes we do. I guess every other year I think it switches for us, but um it will be a lot of fun. I think Thanksgiving's a really cool time to eat, and we'll have turkey for the next few days after that. So that's
There
the
you
one
go.
thing that, after day 3, it's just horrible.
Yeah.
Turkey and the fridge smells and the whole 9 yards. So What about
Yeah.
you? What about
You
you? What's
know,
going on with you and the Hall
I
family?
usually go up. We have a pretty big family gathering with some extended family. There's gonna be about 30 of us up
Jeez.
in up near a little town called Shingle Springs. Maybe some of you have heard of it. It's really small, up between Folsom and Placerville if you're going up Highway 50. I always gravitate to the deviled eggs to open. I'm a big deviled eggs guy. I even do a deviled egg cook off with a close group of friends. I got a deviled egg tattoo
Oh, look at that.
right here. Uh, and so for our cook off, every time we win, we get a hash mark. I only have one, so I need to get back in the winners board this year. We're gonna be doing that in a month or so with our friends, but always got to open with some deviled eggs. And then I enjoy some turkey and whatnot, but I like to give the role players their due. I'm a big mashed potatoes and stuffing guy, so there'll always be a healthy helping of those on my plate. So
Well, there you go. And I noticed that there's a lot of people that transform their turkey. They're not a big fans of it anymore, and they transform.
turducken.
What?
Have you heard of the turducken?
No, what is some people have duck?
Yeah, so it's a turducken. It's
Yeah.
oh man, now that I brought it, it's a turkey stuffed with a duck stuffed with a chicken, I believe. So it's
Oh,
like three
geez.
birds in one.
Yeah, I was gonna take that. I was just gonna say that some people have chicken or ham. I've heard
Okay.
ham a popular one
Yeah, we
too.
usually have a ham too because we have so many people. Not everyone's a turkey person, so when you have 30 people, you can afford to have a ham out there as well.
Yeah, the best ham and turkey, you got to have like it can't be completely dry, right?
Oh
It
no.
Yeah, that's and I guess that's what it looks
The
like
key
after a
is
few
having
days.
someone who knows what they're doing making that turkey.
Yeah, I hope it just doesn't go in the crock pot. Is that possible? Probably not, huh?
Oh, anti crock pot Steven.
God, I hate that thing. God, people hate me
You'll
for
you'll
that
learn
thing.
to love it. You'll learn to love it once you're on your own and you need to cook something throughout the day. You'll love it.
Oh, geez. Well,
But
anyways, hopefully you have a happy Thanksgiving, Tyler.
yeah, you as
Enjoy
well,
that
Steven.
30 people, man. We go big for Christmas. Not really Thanksgiving anymore. We still have some people over, but Christmas is the one where all the family gets together.
Nice.
So and we'll definitely talk before then. But yeah, happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, Steven, and everyone who listens. Hope you have a good holiday with your family. Thanks for listening. Hope you have a great holiday.
And follow us on the socials too. Shutdown
Uh,
Inning. We're on
yeah,
Twitter at
on Twitter while it's around.
yeah, underscore or shutdown underscore inning. And then Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, wherever you find your podcasts, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, for some reason you
Um,
want to look at us while we talk. We're on
yeah,
YouTube.
who would want to do that? Jeez.
Yeah.
Um, all right. Happy
All right.
Thanksgiving,
Well,
everybody, and
shut it down.
shut it down. Another shutdown inning. See you next time.